Hello everyone. It's time for another episode of Am I the Asshole? If you like hearing Reddit stories, it would really support the channel if you could hit the like button or subscribe. Now, let's get started with our first story. Am I the asshole for excluding my mom's stepdaughter from my baby shower? I will be referring to the stepdaughter as Mary. I say stepdaughter in quotes because my mom and her fiancé are not married and have no plans of marrying each other anytime soon. That's another story. Anyway, I'm having a baby shower for my second child. My mom and I were discussing RSVPs, and she said I will be there and so will my fiancé and Mary. I reminded her it was just girls who will be there, and she said she forgot, but that it will be her and Mary. I explained to her that I want her to be there for sure, but unfortunately, Mary is going to have to stay with her dad. My mom asked if it was a kid-free baby shower and if my 4-year-old daughter will be there. I said yes, she will be there. No, it isn't child-free, but explained to her that Mary has been mean to my daughter in the past. Every single time Mary is around my daughter, she is snatching from her, pushing her, and just being mean. They are the same age, but Mary is clearly not being disciplined at home, and I don't want to be worrying about whether or not my daughter is being bullied at the baby shower. My mom said Mary is 4 years old and doesn't know any better. I said she should know better. My 4-year-old doesn't go around pushing and being mean to children all of the time, and if she does, that behavior is corrected and stops. My mom took offense to this. I tried to keep the conversation short and said, Mary is not allowed to come. I think I'm being reasonable, but my mom says that I'm being unreasonable and unwelcoming to family. She says she will keep an eye on Mary to make sure it doesn't happen. But I don't even allow my mom to have my daughter alone, since she lives with Mary and her fiancé. Because there have been times where I have seen Mary shove my daughter into the pool, once into a ball pit, and just randomly snatching toys from her and being mean. And my mom doesn't do anything until I say something myself, then says how she doesn't know any better. My mom says she wants to bring Mary regardless, or she might just have to send a present to my home and not come. I have friends and family siding with me saying I'm being reasonable for not wanting to have to stress about Mary interacting with my daughter at the shower. But family who is siding with my mom and saying I should just invite Mary so my mom can come to the shower. And they've also said I can just keep Mary and my daughter separate. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Have you told your mother that the reason her granddaughter can't visit her alone is because of Mary? I think that conversation needs to happen regardless of whether your mother comes to the shower or not. The flip side to this question, is whether you are going to be angry at your mom if she doesn't come to the baby shower. You've set an acceptable boundary. You will not allow a feral child to attend a party you are throwing because she makes your child uncomfortable. Your mother said she will not come if Mary cannot come. Are you okay with that? Because you kind of have to be. Your mother is obviously trying to be a mother to Mary, and that's commendable. But as a stepmother, she has very little power over the discipline of the child. Given what you've written, I wouldn't trust her to be able to control Mary under any circumstances, unless you see it happen elsewhere. But if that limits your time with your mother, or your daughter and new baby's time with your mother, how will you feel about that? I'm not trying to make you feel guilty here. I think this is the right call for this party. I'm suggesting that you consider what your boundaries are going to be, in general, moving forward, and how you should consider navigating your mother's relationship with Mary. Yes, I've explained to my mom that she can't watch because she doesn't pay enough attention to the kids, and my daughter always ends up hurt or upset when the two are playing together. But it's honestly not the only reason she cannot watch my daughter alone. But it's a factor. My mom and I already do not have a close relationship due to other reasons. So if this further pushes us apart, I really won't be that fazed by it. But given that, my mom thinks me placing boundaries is me trying to purposefully exclude her and this new family she has. To be fair, you are purposefully excluding her new family here, but that's because it is very warranted. Boundaries are by nature exclusionary, and that's why they are necessary and useful. Stay the course, you're in the right here, whatever it means to your mother. Yes, I did something similar with my husband's brother and daughter years ago when the kids were smaller. His daughter was a terror in so many ways. Long story short, after a particularly stressful and physical visit at my mother-in-law's, I finally got to the point where I said no more. I got my kids in the car, went to tell my husband it was time to leave. I was in tears and shaking. My family would not be visiting if they were there. Period. My husband could. I will not force him to not go, but in no uncertain terms would our kids or myself subject ourselves anymore. I got a lot of pushback from my husband's family, especially his siblings. I was overreacting. No, I'm keeping my family safe. It wasn't long before they saw exactly what I had been saying for years. Protect your daughter. Edit, typo, thank you. Reddit strangers for this catch. Not the asshole. I would have voted otherwise if I didn't see that Mary had pushed your daughter into a pool. However, there seems to be some underlying tension in these relationships, at least from what a stranger on the internet can see. Has anything been done to try to help the relationship with Mary and your daughter? What's the relationship like with you and your mom's fiancé? For children, behavior is often communication. It might not be that Mary is just being mean to be mean, but that she has complicated feelings about the family dynamics that she doesn't have a way to express except for acting out. So I'm not very fond of my mom's fiancé. They met because he was selling my mom crack and giving her free crack. My mom was cheating on my dad with him. So one day my mom was with my dad. The next day she was living with her now fiancé. They forced their relationship onto me and my brothers. And he's put his hands on my mother and even put his hands on my grandmother when she was coming. Get my mom one day, when my mom and the fiancé first started dating. My mom claims none of this happens anymore, that they go to church and get counseling from their pastor. But I just am weary of him. I'm not mean to him. I am cordial with him and will speak to him and say hello when I see my mom. But this is how my siblings and I all feel about the fiancé. Now, I do bring my daughter to my aunt's, where my mom watches my cousins and brings Mary. And I will let the girls play, and I defend my daughter when I observe Mary being mean and remind Mary to play nice. But that isn't my child. I can't discipline her. So when it happens after one warning, I tell Mary, if we can't play nice, we'll go home and play every single time we eventually go home. I definitely don't think it's Mary's fault that she has behavior issues. I feel bad, but I've watched both my mother and her fiancé have no corrective measures to Mary misbehaving until someone else points it out. Am I the asshole for refusing to make my son go on a camping trip after his stepdad and uncle told he had no choice? I share custody of a moody, emotional, cranky 11-year-old boy with his mom. I am very mindful and respectful that he's hitting puberty and give him space and boundaries. One minute, he will give you the death stare for being in the same room, and the next minute, he'll want to play fight because he knows I'm going to hug and kiss him. Right now, Ethan, going through a phase where he doesn't any adult relative posting any picture or video of him on their social media account. The of exceptions is if you're between the ages of 14 to 25 and doing something fun or makes him look cool. His mom and stepdad love posting pictures of their family all the time. Ethan told them not to post pictures of him. His stepdad told him to not post family pictures without him is like letting him not shower or brush his teeth. It's sorta required. My son complained to me, and I said I'm not getting involved with how they run their home. To me, it's not a hill worth dying over. Ethan let them know how he felt. I had Ethan all week, and he goes back to his mom's on Saturday. He refuses to go back because he doesn't want to go to the family Labor Day camping trip where he'll be photographed. I asked my son if this was really worth fighting over, and he believes so. I spoke to his mom, and she thought it was ridiculous. I said I agree, but this is just some weird tween boy power trip thing, so just promise not to take his picture. She refused. Now Ethan refuses to go on the trip. Last night, his stepdad and maternal uncle called him separately. Both times resulted in Ethan crying. They basically told him his ass was going. That pissed me off. I called them both up and said my custody issues with his mom is none of their business. I agree it's stupid and a compromise could have been met. Now that you all inserted yourself into the matter, I have no choice but to let him stay here if he wants. His mom is mad at me. I told her to just drop it, and you can take him for a few extra days when you get back. The situation has gotten too dramatic. It's not like he doesn't want to go back because he has to clean his room. He has to know that his stepdad and uncle are not calling the shots too. She is furious at me and says I'm encouraging bad behavior by letting him stay here. Ironically, I'm way more strict than she is. Edit. This has nothing to do with taking his picture. He loves having his picture taken with the older kids or the young adults because he thinks it makes him look cool. Anything to do with older people makes him feel like he's 5. His stepdad told him to not post family pictures without him is like letting him not shower or brush his teeth. It's sort of required. Not the asshole. This is bloody weird, and these activities are by no means equivalent. If the kid doesn't want his picture posted, they shouldn't be forcing him to have his picture posted. OP could point out that stepdad, making an 11-year-old cry and mom not intervening to support her son, is borderline abusive behavior. It's not borderline, it is abusive. Not the asshole. This is important to your son and is upsetting to him, then it's good. You stick up for him. But custody-wise, if his mother is supposed to have him that weekend, there's not a lot you can do. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.